Dia dah record lah. Okay, dia dah record lah. Alright. We continue lesson again. Sorry, forgot to click the record button just now. Mana nak hilangkan ni jap. Okay. Now, where were we? Again, right? So batteries generate mobile electrons using electrochemical process. It triggers the chemical reactions inside the battery actually trigger the transformation of bounded electrons into unbounded electrons, such that the electrons could be mobile, is movable towards inside the conductor of any circuit given at the terminal of the batteries. So we won't discuss much about the chemical processes available occurs at the positive or terminal negative of the battery, but what I can say is that they sometimes use different types of chemical and also different type of material in the electrode component of the battery. So the situation is like this. Okay, let us read first the second statement. One of the electrode will produce electron, and that electrode will become negative terminal. So again, it is not producing electron, but producing trigger. It's triggering the transformation of bounded electrons into unbounded electron, which is known also mobile electrons, which that mobile electron contains much energy that it could be moved inside any conductor and move inside any electrical components and trigger the another reactions which transform the energy that the electrons carries from the kinetic energy into some other type of energy, for example light energy or heat energy, so on and so forth. So before we move into the electromotive force, I would like to draw something for you guys, just for a reference. Okay, now so the chemical reaction inside these both container. This is the basic principle, working principle of a battery. Yeah, but of course battery doesn't look like this. Okay, but this is the basic principle of a battery. So one of the component, one of the terminals, they might have the reduction process, and also the other terminal could be there could be oxidation process happen. So a reduction process is when the system is receiving outside electron, and the oxidation process is when the system is kicking out the mobile electron. So the electrode that produce electron, the electrode that produce the mobile electron will become negative terminal, and the process, the chemical process happens over here is the oxidation process, which the electron will be kicked out from the system, which will, that electron is the mobile electron, will be used, then the mobile electron could be transferred inside the conductor. Let's say this is the terminal, the negative terminal, this is the positive terminal. So the chemical reaction inside this this container will trigger the production of mobile electron, and the mobile electron could be moved inside the conductor, and it enters the second system over here, which is the positive terminal, and the positive terminal will receive the electron, therefore reduction process will be happen at the positive terminal. At the negative terminal, the oxidation process will happen. So now the interaction, first of all, if we take out these this wire, if we take out the conductor, the wire, if we take out, so the system will isolate. I mean, there will be no electron passing through the conductor. So if we consider the interactions between the chemical in container A, okay, if we consider only the chemical and the reaction happen between the chemical and the conductor inside container A, and therefore we could calculate the oxidation potential of the battery. And how about container B? If we able to calculate the interaction between the electron, proton, remember how do we calculate the F? F equals to KQ1, KQ2 over R squared. Using that formula, if we could calculate the millions or trillions of electrons and protons, and therefore we could calculate the potential of reduction. So any electronic devices, electric and electronic devices, we could draw their energy level diagram. So if we could measure the energy level diagram over here, so if the axis is energy, so the reduction potential and the oxidation potential could be like this. Okay, yang bawah ni adalah, this is the reduction potential and this is the oxidation potential. Okay, both are measured sometimes in the unit of electron volt. Sometimes we could use the most fundamental unit, which is H3, but usually we will use electron volt. This is just additional untuk memahamkan bagaimana electromotive force itu. So now, if the battery has the oxidation potential like this and reduction potential like this, okay, the reduction potential at the positive terminal and oxidation potential is at the negative terminal. So if we put any wire, okay, mana ni, okay, the wire also has potential, the potential to conduct any electron. Let's say this is the potential of wire. Maybe copper wire or aurum wire, so on and so forth. Let's say this is copper wire. If the copper wire potential is like this, therefore, if the oxidation process over here will produce electron, this electron, the produced at the negative terminal, could be injected or transported into the wire. And then this wire is connected to another device, for example, light bulb, and the light bulb also has their own energy level, for example, like this. In order the circuit to work, the energy level must be like this. Okay, electron will be injected. There is analogy. Electron sinks. Electron only could be injected towards the devices or any components which has energy level lower than its oxidation potential. Dia akan injected ke bawah. Let's say ni light bulb, light bulb. And if we have another external circuit over here, okay, see we have, let's say kat sini lampu kan, inilah lampu kita, light bulb tadi kat sini. Kemudian light bulb tadi tu dia sambung lagi dengan wire. It is connected to another wire which connects to the negative terminal. This copper wire, okay, connects again to the battery over here. So this is the energy level of the wire. Alright. So now, whenever electrons is injected into the light bulb, see, we have energy level difference. Ni energy level difference. Semasa whenever the electron is injected from the battery into the copper wire, we also have energy level difference. So therefore, during the injection from the battery inside the wire, there will be energy loss. How much? This much. This much energy loss will be happen. Okay. Let's say the electron is carrying 100 electron volt over here. Whenever it injected into the copper wire, the energy will be lost. And also during, yes?
Doktor, ada kawan kita belum masuk lagi.
Dia tak dapat masuk
Doktor belum accept code.
Okay, sebabnya saya buka PowerPoint slide. Bila buka PowerPoint slide, dia tak boleh nak auto accept kan? Sekejap. Saya kena.
Sorry doktor.
Tak apa, okey je. Asal tak ada permohonan pun.
Tengok kat chat box tu doh. Diorang cakap tu kawan dia belum masuk lagi.
Ke tak ada permohonan pun? Saya gunakan yang ni. Tak ada permohonan lah.
Oh.
Macam mana saya nak ada 51 orang sekarang ni.
Oh. Itu semua orang ke?
Baru 51, sepatutnya 57.
Oh.
Okay. Right, we continue. See, whenever the injection happen, there will be energy transferred. Okay, let me label them using different color. during the electron injection from the battery into the wire, there will be energy transferred. And when the electron is injected from the wire into the battery, there will be energy transferred. But beside the energy transfer, there will be energy loss. The energy loss is over here. Could be defined as difference of energy level between the battery and the wire, and the wire and the light bulb. There will be energy difference. That is why during the operation of any electronic circuit, there will be heat generated, and that heat is from the electron injection, which the energy cannot be transformed into the certain another energy. For example, this one is light bulb. Not 100% of energy from the battery could be transformed into the energy of light. Some of them will be transformed into the heat energy, will be lost. Energy will be wasted. Okay, this one, energy will be wasted as heat. So the main thing is that I want to tell you about the potential difference. So the negative terminal and the positive terminal, they will have different potential. And this potential could be termed as the electromotive force. Jauh saya pergi, baru kena balik kat mana asal-usul electromotive force tu. Sebenarnya semuanya bergantung kepada pengiraan asas F equals to KQ1 Q2 over R square. Okay. So the electromotive force, saya tukar color balik. The electromotive force is defined, bukan. There's a pointer, yes. Electromotive force is defined by the potential difference between the two electrodes, meaning that the positive electrodes and the negative electrodes. Different material of electrode, deep in different chemicals, they will produce different reduction and potential, okay, energy level. And some of them will become the positive and some of them will become negative terminal. Okay. And the difference between the potential level is called as electromotive force if the battery is not connected with a wire. When battery is not connected with any wire, then the potential difference, theoretical calculation, okay, at the positive terminal, we have that much of potential energy, and at the positive terminal, we have that much of energy. So this is before we put any wire, before we attach any wire onto the positive and negative terminal. And the potential difference between both terminals known as EMF, electromotive force. So, but when we attach, the electrical circuit that connect between the positive and negative terminal, and therefore, okay, when there is a current, when we put the external circuit, the potential difference across the terminal will be lowered. Why? Due to the internal resistance of the battery. Why? Due to chemical reactions. Which chemical reactions? These chemical reactions. When we put, okay, before we put any external circuit over here, okay, the chemical reaction hasn't been triggered. This system at container A is still isolated with the chemicals inside container B. They only connected with the bridge where electrons cannot pass this bridge anymore. We cannot pass through this bridge yet. But when we put external circuit, now the external circuit will trigger chemical reactions to happen. When these chemical reactions to happen, this electron could be mobile electron could be produced at the negative terminal and go out to the positive terminal through the external circuit. So before we put the external circuit, the potential at container A and potential at container B, the difference between them is known as EMF. And the potential difference could be calculated using the calculation of F equals to KQ1 KQ2 over R square separately between A and B. Now, when we put external circuit, chemical reaction will happen, and that chemical reaction, some of them are non-reversible, irreversible. Some of them are irreversible, and therefore that irreversible chemical reactions will have the effect of number of mobile electrons will be produced. The lower the number of mobile electrons will be produced, the lower the value of electrical potential, and therefore it will reduce the electrical potential of the terminal, of the negative terminal. So due to the chemical reaction, it will give internal resistance of the battery, and therefore delta V, I mean the voltage produced, will be lesser than the electromotive force. And how do we calculate them? So the actual voltage of the battery when we put the external circuit is equals to the electromotive force minus IR, and R is the internal resistance of the battery, which is due to chemical reaction. So this is how we calculate. The battery won't last very long. Okay, it depends on the material. The energizer is much will last more longer than the ever-ready. Kenapa? Because they use different types of material. They use the nano size of materials which could extend the life of the battery. Okay, then they use other type of, you see, we could always manipulate the shape, the size of any materials, okay, to extend the lifetime of the battery or supercapacitor. We could always manipulate them. So much technology to be discussed. Okay, nowadays they already going into the quantum dot technology of battery. Okay, which the battery will become smaller and smaller. I still remember in the year 2000, I bought a Samsung telephone, Samsung mobile phone in the year 2000. During that time, Samsung telephone could be, whoever use Samsung telephone, they will give you names such as, oi, beli peti sejuk ke? During that time, Samsung, people won't look at Samsung, people look at Nokia during that time. And during the time that Samsung mobile phone uses the AA battery. Seriously. Cubalah cari AA battery handphone. AA dah besar macam tu, berapa tebal telefon anda. But rechargeable one, AA rechargeable. And nowadays Samsung is one of the giants in the electronic devices. They are using quantum dots materials, which the size is lesser than 5 nanometer, the materials. So they have engineered the batteries using different size of materials, different shapes of material, which could prolong the lifetime of the battery. Maybe the battery could last for 1 million cycles of charging and recharging. Charging and discharging. So that will be equals to how about 5 years of cycles, maybe. And what else? So many technologies. When you use quantum dots, the battery could be, I mean, the box size of the battery could be reduced into a paper thin size of a battery. Actually, Malaysia, there is one professor at UM. If you could Google his name, Professor Abdul Karim bin Aruf. Okay, he is the father of physics in Malaysia. So he actually invented battery that would last longer than the energizer. But you know, lecturers and researchers, we don't have much capitals to start our own business, and he cannot scale up the battery, and finally the company, okay, he closed the company and focusing on the academic side only. So that's what happened. Still, to start any business in Malaysia is quite challenging because we need capitals, higher capital, which we need lots of capital to start our business, or else we could not survive for the first 5 years. Okay, what else? Let's see. So the equation is very simple. We already know the equation V equals to IR, but this one, we want to include the calculations of the internal resistance, we just include the other term. Okay, we just need to include the internal resistance. V equals to electromotive force, no doubt about that. Let me check. Yeah. Okay, without any external circuit attached, V equals to electromotive force. But once external circuit is attached, we must include the term negative IR, because R is coming from the internal resistance of the battery. Why internal resistance? Because whenever we put the external circuit will trigger the chemical reaction inside the battery. Whenever there is chemical reaction, always there will be internal resistance inside the battery. So we must include IR. Or else, if the battery doesn't, we doesn't link the battery with the external circuit, and therefore delta V still equals to the electromotive force. Ini kalau tak ada circuit, no circuit. Yang ni kalau ada circuit. Teruknya tulisan, nasiblah. Right. Okay. This is subchapter 8, electric power. Power, the work done by electric field to move a charge from a point to another per unit time. This is a strict application of power. P equals to IV. I think you are familiar with this equation. And the other definition of power is that energy transform over time. So energy transform is QV and T is time. I think we have learned this energy transform in the previous section, section 6, I think. Okay. And the unit of power is what? WA T T. So we have, if you look at the electrical electronic shop, you could see some of the devices sold. They have stickers with 5 star, 3 stars, or even 1 star, and even 0 star. Okay. Those devices are classified. Saya nak kena admit orang masuk dulu. Baru ada orang apply masuk. Alright. Classified based on the energy wasted. The energy comes in, okay, from the electrical circuit, and how does the electronic circuit works inside the device, and how much heat could be produced, which means that how much energy will be lost, cannot be used to trigger the machine to work efficiently. So those kind of factors has been taken into consideration to label whether the device is 1, 2, or 3 stars, or even 5 stars. So how much energy will be wasted, but the bill still is coming in, and the device won't work efficiently as compared to the 5-star label devices. So you should choose what to buy, okay, carefully. But of course, the 5-star rated devices will need the cost will be higher than the 3-star rated devices. So choose wisely lah. Actually, I bought a 5-star air condition, okay, and surprisingly, it doesn't last 1 year at all, because the circuit inside, yeah, it is efficient, energy efficient air condition, but beside that, it comes with a package that the electrical circuit is super sensitive. So within 1 year, that air condition unit cannot be used anymore. The circuit has been fried due to oversensitive circuit, okay, of voltage fluctuations. In Malaysia, voltage fluctuations is common. Sometimes due to thunder strike, due to the thunder strike, and sometimes the voltage spike. Whenever the voltage spike, the super sensitive circuit could be fried anytime. Not just my air condition unit, my PS also habis, PlayStation habis, apa lagi yang habis saya punya TV, my LED TV habis, apa lagi, itulah kadang-kadang energy efficient, but the circuit sometimes super sensitive. Bukan semua, some of the product, okay. For example, PlayStation. Kalau if you want to buy PlayStation, the new PlayStation, make sure you have voltage stabilizer or voltage regulator ya. Kalau waktu-waktu hujung tahun macam ni, buruh petir semua tu tak ada voltage regulator, nak beli itulah dalam mahal beribu-ribu kan. Alright. So again, electric power, we have so many types of equation of power previously. Okay, we have P equals to QV over T and P equals to IV. What else we have? We could manipulate the equation P equals to I square R. What else? We have P equals to V square over R. And afraid not, because formula will be given in any test or any final examination. So you just need to choose wisely which formula should be used. The derivation of this power formula, we won't discuss much because we are not learning, your core program is not physics, you are engineering students, so we won't discuss much about the derivation. How do we get the P equals to I square R? How do we get V square over R? We won't discuss about that. So we will use learn the application of the formula. Now example 18. A battery has an EMF. Chicken baru masuk, chicken. Zafri elect lagi, Guna cakap apa guna, saya tak faham. Zafri electric, entah, tak faham guna. Guna Shri. Kita orang ambil guna ambil elektrik, bukan kimia ke korang?
Saya pun ambil elektrik juga, tapi saya
okay, right. So a battery has an EMF of 12 volt. Remember, whenever we said EMF, it means that the battery hasn't been attached to any external circuit. And the internal resistance is given. This is R. Okay, R kecil. And its terminals are connected to a load resistance of 3 ohm. Now the terminals now is connected. Okay, this is before connected and this one after connected. Okay. This is R besar. Ada load tu mungkin dia connected dengan mini fan ataupun light bulb, so on and so forth. So A, find the current in the circuit and the terminal voltage of the battery. Apa maksud ni? Tengok. Now, the current, we could always manipulate the equations kan. Tadi kita ada equation apa? Kita ada equation V equals to electromotive force minus I R. So we modify this equation, therefore we will get the I, the current could be calculated equals to electromotive force divided by R plus R. Macam mana kita dapat ni? Remember this V pula. Saya tulis balik. V equals to electromotive force minus I R. V also equals to I R. E equals minus I R. Yes, like that. Okay. Now, if we modify the equation, so we will get E equals to E pula electromotive force I R plus I R kecil. Kat sini kita dapat I factorize the R, we got R besar tambah R kecil. Jadi I kita boleh kira sama dengan electromotive force divided by R plus R kecil. R besar ni apa? R besar ni adalah resistance of the load. Katakanlah kita ada bateri tadi kita ada bateri, saya lukis. Bateri ni sambung dengan, ini bateri zaman purba, semua petak-petak. Sambung dengan dengan lampu. EMF berada kat dalam ni. Dan R kecil berada dekat dalam ini. R kecil adalah internal resistance. Internal resistance is due to the chemical reaction inside the battery. How about the R capital ni, R besar ni? Ini R kecil. Internal resistance kat sini 0.05 ohm. R besar ni adalah the load resistance. Load means any electrical or electronic devices that we attach with the battery. This is the capital R equals to 3 ohm. Remember we have 2R right now. This is ni R kecil, yang ni R besar. Jadinya we have this equation V equals to electromotive force minus IR, and the V itself we could expand into this equation. V equals to IR yang ni. Ini nak kira V yang dekat terminal This is V at terminal. Akhirnya kita dapatlah equation ni. Boleh pakai equation ni, masukkan terus segala persamaan kita. Electromotive force diberi 12 volt. Apa lagi? Kita ada R besar lah 3. R kecil 0.05. Dapatlah nilai tersebut. Soalan dia tadi, dia nak find the current in the circuit. Cari current dia. So B, calculate the power delivered to the load resistor. Internal resistance, okay. Kita tengok satu this is number 1. Our task number 1. Load resistor. We have to calculate the power. Power at load resistor. Power delivered at internal resistance, number 2, and power delivered by the battery, this is number 3. Okay. Now, the first one, power delivered to the load resistor. Load resistor mean that, ni, load resistance tadi kan, load resistance maksudnya yang bentol ni lah. We are looking at the light bulb. Kita assume light bulb lah sebab soalan tak beritahu apa-apa. We just assume it is a light bulb or any, doesn't matter. We just imagine anything over here. Ni kat sini. Tak habis lukis lagi, dah pergi tempat lain. Sekejap. Saya tersalah tekan tadi. Apa ada keluar tu? Ada keluar cacing. Tak apalah. Okay, so now we need to calculate the power delivered over here. Kat sini, our task number 1. Power. Berapa? What parameter do we have? We have R. And we have I. Tadi we have calculated I kan? What else do we have? So, okay, look at the first solution. We have I. And we have the resistance of the load, R. Can we calculate the power? Yes, we have so many equations of power. We could manipulate the I and R to calculate the power. We have I square times R. Therefore, this is straight away. The equation is very straightforward. I we have calculated 3.93. R besar, resistance of the light bulb, we have 3 ohm. Therefore, we could calculate the power delivered to the light bulb is this much. Soalan ni dia tak bagi straightforward. Dia cakap the resistance of internal resistance lah, load resistor lah, but you have to read carefully lah. First and foremost, what you need to do is that you summarize the system, draw this diagram. Biasanya kalau electromotive force tu dia mesti ada battery, look at battery, dia ada external circuit, kemudian load dia berapa. Biasanya kita tak letaklah sampai 2-3 load, satu load cukup lah. Kita tak belajar elektrik kan, kita belajar physics ni. Okay, selesai yang nombor 1 kita dah kira. Question number 2, the internal resistance. Internal resistance, tengok battery saja. The power delivered inside the internal resistance, the power, okay, yang berada dekat dalam battery ni saja. Ni question B. Ni tadi question A kat sini kan? Ni question A. Ini question B. Question B pula, question B2. B2. Question B2. Yang ni question B1. Ambil kau. Berconteng-conteng. This is B2. Sedap pula bila dah calibrate Wacom saya ni. Okay. Question B2 pula. We have I. I will be the same. What else? Internal resistance. Of course lah. We are discussing about the battery itself kan. Internal resistance tadi tak ada. 0.05 ohm saja. We have the equation P equals to I square R. Sama je. Masukkan nilai R, kita dapat the power inside the battery. Okay. That is correlated with the internal resistance of the battery is this much. Apa lagi? The final one. The power and the power delivered by the battery. The power delivered by the battery. The power delivered by the battery, we sum up all the power correlated to the load and the power inside the battery correlated to the internal resistance of the battery. Tambahkan je. Okay, PR, P due to the load resistance and P due to the internal resistance. And we got 47.1 watt. Ataupun kita boleh kira secara lain. Sama juga, P equals to I, R. Yang general tu kan. R kita ada dua. R kita ada R1 dan R2. R besar dan R kecil. Buatlah R besar tambah R kecil. Kita akan dapat jawapan dia sama. 47.1. Ada banyak cara. Okay, itu cara dia. Next. Exercise 10. A 65 ohm resistor. 65 ohm resistor is connected to the terminals of a battery whose EMF. Ada EMF. Ada tak? Dah tulis dah bateri. Tadi kita lukis gambar bateri kan. Kali ni kita cuba lukis gambar yang secara simbol elektrik yang betul lah. Bateri ni. Okay. Itu bateri. Ada electromotive force dah. 12 volt. And whose internal resistance is 0.5 ohm. Dia lukis. Sebenarnya ni pun dia nak gambarkan internal resistance kat dalam ni, terpaksa lukis satu perintah kat sini. Jadi ni kita ada internal resistance je. Gabung sekali. Ni satu bateri lah senang cerita. Ni adalah sebuah bateri dengan electromotive force seperti itu dan juga internal resistance seperti itu. Calculate the circuit. Calculate the current in the circuit. Calculate the current in the circuit. B. Ini exercise. Kalau exercise saya tunjuk video saya lah. Lagi mudah. Sebab saya terang kat video. Kan? Kita buka YouTube sekejap. Exercise 10. Exercise 10. Okay, saya kena mute saya punya mikrofon. Mikrofonnya ni. You also need to calculate the direction. Use tangent theta. Tangent theta is y component, the summation. Bukan tu. Baik. Just like this. Electromotive force is 12 volts and whose internal resistance is 0.5 ohm. Calculate A, the current in the circuit. If you don't know how to read the circuit, just ignore the circuit. It's just a distraction. Just focus on any numerical parameters given. Right. So let us see question A first. Okay, question A. We need to calculate the current in the circuit. Okay. So we have the equation. We have R equals to 65 ohm. What else given? We have the electromotive force equals to 12 volts. We have internal resistance, small r, 0.5 ohm. Therefore, we should calculate the current in the circuit using the V equals to IR plus IR, small r. Okay, the internal resistance, don't forget about the internal resistance, equals to V equals to I plus R and I. Therefore, we could calculate from V divided by R plus R. V is given, R capital and R small r is given in the question. We have 12 ampere. We have 65 ohm plus
12 ampere pula.
Ohm.
Therefore,
12 volt rasa salah tu.
12 divided by 65.5 ohm, this is ampere. We have
Baru betul.
0.18
Salah.
ampere.
Asal ampere. Oi, bodoh ke?
Next question. We have question B.
It's not 12 ampere guys. 12 volt. Saya salah tulis.
The terminal voltage of the battery. Terminal voltage without incorporating the internal resistance. So the terminal voltage equals to V equals to I. I we have computed. I will still be the same. It doesn't change. The only change is that the resistance of the circuit and the internal resistance of the battery. So I equals to 0.183 ampere. Resistance is 65 ohm. Direct calculation we got 11.9 volts. Let's see question C. The power dissipated in the resistor R in the battery's internal resistance R. We need to calculate the power dissipated inside the battery itself and inside the circuit. So we need to consider the capital R and the small r. So the power dissipated in the circuit which has the resistor, the R, equals to I square R. This is one of the formula for power. So I will be equal throughout the circuit or the battery 0.183 ampere square and 65 ohm. We have 2.177 watts. What about the second power, which is the power dissipated in the battery's internal resistance? Battery has internal resistance because due to chemical reaction inside the battery itself. I square times R. So we have 0.183 consistent current and we have 0.5 internal resistance. So we have power dissipated inside the battery itself is 0. Quite small, but it is significant. 0.0167 watt. So these are the answers for the question exercise 10. This is the final question for you.
Banyak sangat device. Banyak sangat device. Okay, boleh dengar suara saya? Saya dah on balik belum? Sudah on.
Boleh.
Alright. Rasa ini kita boleh habis kelas awal ni. Bagilah chance untuk rehat kan. Dah sudah dekat. Okay, ni example 19. Okay. Okay, example 19. Kita tengok pula. Calculate the resistance of a 40 watt automobile headlight designed for 12 volt usage. This is straightforward answer also given. Okay, from the equation of P equals to V square over R. We have so many equations for power. This is one of them. Okay, so modify the equations. We got R equals to V square over P. And just plug in the value. Okay, we have the V is 12 V square. Tapi janganlah lupa ni kan. Selalu orang terlupa tau. Ni. Divided by the P. Dapat 3.6 ohm. Itu je. Straight away. Okay. Exercise lagi. Ada exercise. Okay. Okay, kita tengok video lagi. Mula-mula saya mute dulu. Okey, sudah buka mikrofon. Ini ya. Exercise 11. Exercise 11. Yeah. Cakap. Cakaplah. Patutlah. Belum buka PC punya. Baik ada champion kita tahu.
Equals to
Ah,
270 milli.
wait.
This is the final question. This is the final question for chapter 7, exercise 11. What is the maximum
Mana
power consumption
final?
of
Ada
a
lagi satu lagi.
portable CD player? This question is not relevant in the year 2020 because we don't have any portable CD player anymore. We don't use that one. Okay, that draws a maximum of 270 milliampere current. So we try to solve that one first. Question A. So we have V equals to 3 volt. What else? We have I.
What happened?
V equals to 3
Kenapa
volt.
saya ada 3?
What else? We have I.
Saya ada 3.
Equals to 270 milliampere. Alright.
Wait up.
So
Okay, apa masalah tadi? 3 count. Menakutkan. Let me check. No, I only have 2 accounts. Korang tahu tak bilik saya ini berhantu? Ulang balik. Hantu main jauh-jauh.
this is the final question for chapter 7, exercise 11. What is the maximum power consumption of a 3 volt portable CD player? This question is not relevant in the year 2020 because we don't have any portable CD player anymore. We don't use that one. Okay, that draws a maximum of 270 milliampere current. So we try to solve that one first. Question A. So we have V equals to 3 volt. What else? We have I. Equals to 270 milliampere. Right. So we need to calculate the power consumption. Okay. So the power
Hang ke?
consumption P equals to I square R. What else do we have? We also have P equals to IV. Hit the jackpot. So we could use P equals to IV. We have I, yes, we have, it's 3 volt. How about V? We have 270 times 10 to the power of negative 3 ampere. Therefore, we have 0.81 watts. Okay, quite simple. And question 2, what is the maximum voltage that can be applied across a 3.3 kilo ohm resistor rated at quarter watt? Quite simple. So B, we have R equals to 3.3 times 10 to the power of 3 ohm. What else? The power is 0.25 watt. Quarter, this is quarter. Quarter watt is 0.25 watt. So what formula should we use? We have the formula P equals to I square R. What else? We have P equals to IV. So what can we use? We try to use the P equals to IR. P equals to I square R. And P we have from the question 0.25 watt. I is not given, leave it like that. And we have R is 3.3 times 10 to the power of 3 ohm. Therefore, we could calculate I equals to square root of 0.25 watts divided by 3.3 times 10 to the power of 3 ohm. And the answer is, right here first. We got 8.7 times 10 to the power negative 3 ampere. This is I. Can we calculate the voltage? Yes. We could use V equals to IR. So we have I 8.7 times 10 to the power negative 3 ampere. We have resistance 3.3 times 10 to the power of 3 ohm. We got 28.7 volt. Aha, simple as that. Okay, thank you for watching. I forgot that we have one more question. This is the last. Okay. At RM0.
Oh, nanti. Example 20 dululah. Sudah okey. Example 20. Apa yang tak betul ya?
Tutup mic PC.
Mikrofon. Pening. Baru okey. Okay, an electric heater draws steady 15 ampere, okay, and 120 volt line, okay. How much power does it require and how much does it cost per month if 1 month is considered as 30 days, okay. If it operates 3 hours per day, okay, and the electric company charges about 9.2 cents per kilowatt hour. Okay, we have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 parameters to be considered. Now, the power of heater, we could use the formula P equals to I V. Straight away we will get I is given from the question, no doubt about that. We have the V, straight away we will get the answer about 1800 watt or 1.8 kilowatt. Usually if the question asks us to calculate the bill, straight away use the unit of power in kilowatt. Okay. So the energy consumed, okay, energy consumed is the power times time. Because why? Because power equals to the energy divided by T. If you remember this equation, let me show you again. Okay, how do we get P equals to E divided by T? Kat mana tadi slide dia? Bukan. Ini dia. Alright. Energy transform. This is E. Okay, divided by T. T is T lah, kan? Again, tadi. Okay, now. So, the power we have calculated, 1.8 kilowatt. How about time? The time we need to, okay, transform. We need to convert we have 3 hours per day, okay. This is the usage, the rate of usage, 3 hours per day, and we have 30 days to be calculated. So, 3 hours times 30, we got 90 hours. In total in 1 month. So in total we will get the energy consumed is 162 kilowatt hour. And how about to calculate the cost? The cost is given, the tarif is given, it is 9.2 cents. Bukan 92 sen tau, 9.2 sen. Tak sampai 10 sen pun. So convert it carefully into RM. This is how we convert lah kan. Okay, kalau kamu ingat 92 sen tadi, jadi salah tu ni. Nasib baiklah kena tengok betul it's 9.2 cent. Inilah dia. Darabkan kita dapat about 14 ringgit 90 cent of usage per week. So during that month for that light bulb only. Okay, if the light bulb is light up for 3 hours per day for 1 month, it will cost us about 14 ringgit and 90 cents. Depending on the tarif. Ini tarif tahun bila saya tak ingat lah, saya tak tahu tarif tahun bila ni. This is the electric tariff of 1 kilowatt hour of usage, about 9.2 cent. 9 sen. Baru boleh masuk exercise 12. Okay, mula-mula saya buka speaker ni. Buka mikrofon ni. Yes. Maximas yang ni. Dan tekan play.
I forgot that we have one more question. This is the last. Okay. At RM 0.095 per kilowatt hour, what does it cost to leave a 25 watt porch light on day and night for a year? Okay. Just simple mathematics. So for 1 day, we have 25 watt times 24 hours. So we have 600 watt hour. And for 1 year, 365 days, we have 600 watt hour times 365 219,000 watt hour. Now, the tariff. If RM 0.095 1,000 watt hour, how about if we have 219,000 watt hour? How many ringgit? So it is going to be 219,000 watt hour times RM 0.095 divided by 1,000 watt hour. So we have RM 20.81. That is the answer. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.
Bila masa saya buka lagu. Dia buka lagu pula. Lagu apa ni? Top English Acoustic Love Songs 2020.
Wah.
Not my type of song lah. Okay. Mana tadi? Ni dah. Oh, ini pun dah. Dah sudah. Sedikit kata-kata penjaga, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan. Jika tidak boleh berjalan, usahlah merangkap. Sebaliknya, dalam kiraan 3, pecutlah tanpa menoleh ke belakang. Fikir-fikirkanlah. Selamat beramal. Ini sebenarnya saya punya aktiviti lah. Pada tahun 2018 dulu. Saya ni sebenarnya suka aktiviti turun ke desa. Boleh dengar suara Okay. Kita sebenarnya ada satu masalah dekat Malaysia. Sebenarnya bukan Malaysia, global di mana pelajar-pelajar dalam bidang sains, dalam bidang teknologi, dalam bidang kejuruteraan mengalami penurunan yang mendadak. Okay. Saya ada buat sedikit kajian tu. Saya pergi ke, mula saya nak tengok dulu apa pelajar-pelajar dekat sekolah menengah sains buat dahulu. Jadinya pada tahun 2017 saya mulakan dengan pergi ke SEMSAS, Sekolah Menengah Sains Sultan Haji Ahmad Shah, Kuantan. Okay, saya pergi ke sana. Saya buat sedikit survey, saya buat sedikit talk. Saya dapati pelajar-pelajar memang minat sains lah, tetapi ada satu masalah sedikit. Contohnya saya ambil satu case study, pelajar dekat SEMSAS ni dia ada satu band, nama dia Jasa Wins. Band Pacaragam, Jasa Wins. Jasa Wins ni sebenarnya dia punya level bukan cikai-cikai lah, bukan level bawahan, bukan level belasahan. Dia pergi bertanding, tak main bertanding peringkat negeri pun. Daerah tak layak peringkat daerah. Peringkat negara tak. Peringkat antarabangsa. Band Jasa Wins Sekolah SEMSAS kat Kuantan ni, peringkat antarabangsa. Jadinya dia sampai ke luar negara lah dia pergi bertanding. Tetapi ada sedikit masalah. Masalahnya apa dia? Masalahnya tiada financial support. Daripada pihak, cuba minta daripada pihak pendidikan daerah, pihak kementerian, nampaknya kuranglah dapat sambutan. Jadi mereka nak pergi bertanding juga. Jadi macam mana mereka nak bertanding juga, mereka pergi ke luar negara dengan membangunkan dana mereka sendiri. Sekejap, bateri saya nak habis, bateri handphone, saya kena cas. Dah nak sampai tempoh dah, bateri Samsung ni dah lebih 5 tahun dah. Dan tukar handphone lah, tukar handphone apa best Samsung Note 100 kot.
12.
Vivo.
Saya tak suka pakai iPhone lah. Orang suruh tukar iPhone, saya tak minat. Tak tahu pasal. Minta maaf lah, iPhone saya tak minat lah. Betul lah. Tengoklah nanti, sangit lah. Sampai mana tadi? Okey, mereka terpaksa bangunkan dana sendiri. Jadi pelajar-pelajar ni, aktiviti mereka adalah mereka ROG, wow. Mereka berniaga. Pelajar-pelajar SEMSAS, mereka berniaga Nokia daus Mereka berniaga pada hujung minggu dan sebagainya. Jadi bila mereka berniaga, mereka dapat banyak wang, beribu-ribu ringgit, mereka boleh pergi bertanding pacaragam dekat peringkat antarabangsa. Jadi daripada situ, bila saya buat survey, saya buat kaji selidik, pelajar-pelajar ni sebenarnya mereka, saya tanya, lepas belajar sekolah menengah ni nak ke mana? Saya nak masuk bidang perniagaan. Okey, bidang perniagaan. Kenapa tak pergi sains teknologi? Tak, saya nampak peluang cerah dekat bidang perniagaan sebab boleh buat duit banyak. Okey, dalam masa yang singkat. Jadi saya tanya balik pada pelajar ni, kenapa tak masuk bidang? Kalau betul minat perniagaan, kamu nak berniaga apa? Saya nak berniaga makanan, sekian semualah, banyaklah plan dia. Saya tanya lagi. Sekarang ni kalau kamu berniaga, maksudnya kamu menjual produk orang kan? Kamu cari modal, kamu jual produk orang. Beli produk orang, kamu jual balik. Betul tak? Betul. Apa kata kalau kamu masuk bidang-bidang teknologi, bidang sains, bidang kejuruteraan, dalam kepala kamu kena ingat. Kamu masuk bidang teknologi, kejuruteraan sains ni sebab kamu nak cari ilmu, nak bangunkan produk kamu sendiri. Jadi, bila kamu graduate ni, sebelum kamu graduate, kamu ada 3 tahun atau 4 tahun dekat universiti, dalam masa 4 tahun kamu cari idea. Kamu nak berniaga apa? Waktu masuk kelas, kamu dah ada idea. Okey, kelas ni, sahaja aku masuk kelas ni, nak belajar ilmu ini, sebabnya aku nak cuba bina produk aku sendiri. Jadi, kalau apa-apa lecturer ajar dalam kelas tu, kamu cuba cari idea. Okey, benda ni boleh tak untuk diniagakan? Benda ni boleh tak? Jadi, soalan kamu nanti lebih praktikal waktu dalam kelas. Jadi, pelajar-pelajar tu baru tersedar. Oh, boleh macam tu je. Apa tak boleh pula? Sebab itu dekat UMP kita ada tekno usahawan, kita ada pusat keusahawanan. Pelajar-pelajar yang berminat nak berniaga boleh mendapatkan bantuan-bantuan ataupun geran-geran dekat pusat keusahawanan. Mungkin soft loan ataupun mungkin tak perlu pun bayar semula. Ada dekat pusat keusahawanan. Pusat keusahawanan dekat UMP ni dipanggil sebagai PIKUS. Pusat something-something usahawanan. Bukan tikus, PIKUS. Gitu. Jadinya saya terfikir, sebabnya semakin teruklah pelajar nak masuk kejuruteraan, sains, teknologi, semakin tak berapa ramai. Kalau semua nak masuk berniaga, nanti siapa nak mulakan buat idea baru, produk-produk baru Kita takut kita brain drain Takut tak ada lagi kita terpaksa menjual produk-produk daripada luar negara pula nanti. Tak ada produk daripada Malaysia sendiri. Kan? Jadinya saya mula dari situ saya keluar, pergi cari sekolah-sekolah, buat talk, tak charge apa-apa. Memang saya tak cakap apa-apa. Selalunya saya gunakan duit saya sendirilah. Saya ajak student-student postgraduate saya, student master, student PhD dan student undergraduate pun akan join sekali kebiasaannya. Jadi ini salah satu gambar lah saya approach pelajar-pelajar sekolah rendah dekat sekolah kebangsaan Kuala Wow. Kami duduk sana dalam 4 hari lah. Kami jadi anak angkat pada penduduk kampung, bercampur dengan orang-orang kampung, bergaul sambil tu kami berdakwah tentang dunia sains, teknologi, inovasi dan juga kejuruteraan. Kita juga ada pasangkan beberapa photovoltaic system, solar cell, kita pasang untuk lampu-lampu dekat kawasan kampung, kawasan sekolah untuk terangkan kawasan kampung. Selain daripada tu kita buatlah eksperimen-eksperimen yang menarik dengan adik-adik yang comel-comel tu kan. Sambil-sambil tu student-student saya ni carilah bakal-bakal mak mentua kan, bakal-bakal pak mentua yang berpotensi untuk diketengahkan. Saya tak boleh lah. Nanti saya tak balik rumah, saya duduk dekat porch kereta je untuk sebulan. So inilah kerja-kerja saya sebagai ahli akademik. Ahli akademik ni bukan setakat mengajar sajalah. Kita juga turut menyampaikan dakwah mengikut kita punya bidang pengajian lah. Macam saya bidang sains dan teknologi. Saya sampaikan ilmu-ilmu ni tanpa memberi sebarang charge. Sebenarnya kalau nak charge boleh saja pihak kementerian, pihak pejabat pendidikan memang boleh memberi sedikit honorarium, tapi saya buat ni memang ikhlas untuk anak-anak Malaysia lah pergi. Selain daripada tu, yang ni program ni saya namakan program saintis turun ke desa. Yang mana saya sempat run 2 tahun saja saintis turun ke desa ni sebelum saya dilantik jadi timbalan dekan akademik lah. Sekarang ni dah duduk dalam posisi management, agak sukar lah saya nak menggerakkan sebab saya nak latih juga pensyarah-pensyarah baru ni untuk buat macam saya ni, tapi nampaknya mereka masih belum mampulah nak menggerakkan seperti ini. Banyak cabarannya, banyak memerlukan duit, banyak perlukan mencari sponsor dan sebagainya. Kalau tak, macam mana kita nak run kan? Kalau saya kaya raya macam Tony Stark tu lain lah. Saya tabur je duit atas jalan kan? Masalahnya tak. Jadi saya ada program-program lain lagi. Saya ada program yang kedua iaitu Lighting Up the Community. Pun lebih kurang macam ni lah, tapi menggunakan konsep yang berbeza. Lighting Up the Community tu kita cari sekolah-sekolah khas. Kita ajar pelajar-pelajar dekat sekolah tu secara formal dan secara tak formal dan tunjuk mereka macam nak pasang alat-alat menggunakan solar, menggunakan teknologi fotovoltaik. Dan kita pasang kat sekolah-sekolah yang memerlukan yang sekolah asramanya gelap dan sebagainya, yang kekurangan sumber dana untuk bayar bil elektrik, kita pasang teknologi fotovoltaik. Itu kita approach sekolah. Yang gambar ni saintis turun ke desa. Kita approach komuniti satu kampung. Ketua kampung, bakal mak mertua, anak-anak sekolah, adik-adik dia orang, kakak-kakak dia orang, kenyik-kenyik mata sikit. Kita duduk selama 3-4 hari. Turun ke kampung. Dan satu program yang kita ada adalah Camp Saintis Muda. Ni saya buat lah. Yang ni kita jemput majoriti sekolah-sekolah ni, hantar beberapa orang wakil pelajar yang dia orang pilih sendiri, hantar ke UMP ni. Kita buat camp 1 minggu. Macam-macam aktiviti kita buatlah dekat Camp Saintis Muda tu. Semata-matanya untuk beri kesedaran kepada pelajar-pelajar ni apa di sebalik matematik yang diorang belajar tu. Apa aplikasinya dekat dunia sebenar. Subjek apa lagi? Subjek sains yang diorang belajar kat sekolah tu. Macam mana aplikasi dekat dunia sebenar. So dekat universiti ni kita dedahkan pelbagai instrumen yang canggih-canggih. Diorang pegang mikroskop elektron, diorang pegang alat-alat yang harga berjuta-juta kan. Kita buat eksperimen. Dan lebih menarik kita adalah pertandingan lah. Kita buat pertandingan dan kita bagi mereka pingat-pingat yang tertentu lah, pingat untuk menghargai sejauh mana pencapaian diorang dalam camp-camp tersebut. So inilah kerja sebagai seorang ahli akademik, bukan sekadar mengajar mengikut tangga gaji, tapi kita juga menjalankan aktiviti-aktiviti community services. Jadi kita haraplah pada tahun ni dan tahun akan datang COVID ni semakin reda supaya saya boleh turun balik ke komuniti, sebab hati saya memang jatuh dekat aktiviti dengan komuniti lah. Saya rasa tak senang kalau duduk saja dekat kerusi pejabat, saya tak boleh. Itulah. Jadinya saya tak nak bercakap panjang pada hari ni, 1.20 dah cukup lah untuk hari ni sebab kita nak fokus untuk test pada weekend ni kan. Alright, saya rasa itu saja. Kita jumpa lagi pada minggu depan untuk habiskan chapter yang terakhir, yang 8, iaitu magnetism. Magnetism tu ada sikit saja dan very straightforward punya topik. Banyak menggunakan simbol tangan je, tangan kanan ke tangan kiri, tangan kanan ke tangan kiri untuk chapter 8. Ada 2 simbol, ada 3 simbol chapter 8 nanti. Hukum tangan kanan yang ini, hukum tangan kiri yang ini, dan hukum tangan kanan satu lagi yang ini. Ada 3 simbol saja. untuk chapter 8 nanti. Tak payah buat toyol pun kan. Ingat ini, ingat ini. Terbaik. Senang saja. Okay. That is all for today. We continue our lesson on chapter 9 next week. Okay, any question? Ada soalan? Tak ada? Kalau tak ada soalan, alright. Kalau tak ada soalan, Ismail, minta maaf lah, tak sempat nak balas WhatsApp lah. Saya balas kejap lagi
It's okay, it's okay.
Okay, kalau gitu, kelas dismiss. Jumpa lagi minggu depan. Assalamualaikum. Bye-bye.
Terima kasih doktor.
Sama-sama.
Thank you, sir. Waalaikumsalam.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Kena stop recording dulu kalau tak.
Thank you, sir.